Namaste and welcome. Welcome to my heart. Welcome to our Sunday meditation, our Sunday sangha. Let us begin with a brief meditation. O Great Spirit, O Infinite Lord of Stillness, O ye powers that be, in all of the realms, in all of thy forms, most beloved Ishtadevata, in all of your forms, that which sings for each of us individually. All of ye beings of power of the air, the earth, the fire, the water, the ether. All of ye helpers in all realms of existence. Namaste. Most beloved Lord of life, O Divine One, in the name that is most important to each soul here, we call upon thee. Pour forth thy light upon us. Sweep clear our paths, that we might see that which needs to be seen, that we might be blessed, that our time together might be blessed. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Once upon a time, on the planet Earth, there was a man, a boy, a young man, let's say that, living in his ashram with his guru, studying and meditating and studying and meditating and learning the ways of the world. But as so often happens upon the earth, a war arose. Another war arose, one of the many. Upon the earth, it seems as if they come like waves, a war and then peace, and then a war and then peace. Anyhow, all the same. You know, the young man was on an ashram in northern Minnesota, the state called Minnesota, the place on the earth called Minnesota. Very cold, very isolated. But they got mail. One day, he gets a note. It says, Melvin, we'd like you to come to the draft board. He didn't want to go to the draft board. He wanted a religious exemption. He wanted to be exempted based upon his spiritual beliefs. And so he wrote them a note. A few weeks later, the answer comes back. This is before texting and the internet. Melvin, we'd like to see you at the draft board. He wrote again. My theology is thousands of years old. Melvin, come to the draft board. Be here on such and such a date. So he packed up his bag. Very sadly, went and sat under his favorite tree and talked to his guru, and His guru hugged him and patted him on the back and said, Melvin, it'll be all right. And Melvin said, yeah, but you haven't told me I'll come back. And with tears in his eyes, he slung the pack over his back, pranammed to his guru, and walked on the road to the bus station, 5 miles. Got on the bus, took the bus to Chicago, long bus ride. Shows up at the draft board. Tries the same argument again. And they said, Higgins, this religion you're talking about, it's not a religion. It's not a real religion. It's not. We don't know anything about it. I don't care that you said it's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. It doesn't matter. You have to go in. He stood there and he said, I just can't. I can't go in. I can't go in the service. Well, Higgy, you got a choice. You can go to jail, or you can go in the service. Now, Melvin had 2 older brothers, and one of them had already died in the service, in the war. And the other one was already enlisted. He really didn't think he'd mind going to jail. I mean, it was a little cell. It was very monastic. But then he thought, oh, my mom. I can't do this to my mother. It would be really bad if I did this to my mother. So there was silence. And the head of the draft board looked at him. Well, Higgins, what will it be? Jail or the service? Could I go as a medic? Yeah, we'll take you as a medic. That's fine. Could I go as a medic and not have to pick up a gun? Never. Yeah, medics don't carry guns. That's fine. You don't have to carry a weapon. Your medic box is your weapon. That's all you have to carry. Okay, with that, he gets in the service, goes through boot camp, and goes off to his war. Now, as you can imagine, there were people who thought they liked the medic. They really liked him. But he was a rather strange young man. He was their medic, but he was also really into this yoga stuff. And he really was into being peaceful. And it wasn't very congruent with some people there. But the guys in his group, if you will, some of them became his friends. They became protective of him. If they were injured, he took care of them. They became protective of him because he stood up for his values. He stood up for what he felt was right. He would never pick up a gun, ever. But then he ran into trouble. One day, got a new sergeant. And for some reason, the sergeant did not like Higgins. No. He thought he was a fraud. So he plotted. The sergeant did. Higgins, you have guard duty tonight. Sir, I'm a medic. Higgins, every man has to have guard duty. You have guard duty tonight. Sir, we're at enemy lines. I'm a medic. Higgins, guard duty or jail? Guard duty or the brig? Yes, sir. Yeah. Higgy's friends had heard the sergeant, and they knew something was up because you never sent the medic on guard duty. So it gets to be dusk, and Higgy goes out to the little area they'd set up for guard duty. It's out really close to enemy lines. Tall grass all around. And he gets to this little temporary hut, if you will. No, Higgins doesn't have anything. His uniform, his canteen. He's going to be there all night. Tall, tall grass all around him. He goes into the hut, and guess what's there? Oh. He looks down. Oh boy. There's a rifle, a loaded gun, sitting there on the floor. Now Higgy knew, oh boy, this is a test. I told him I would never pick up a gun. They let me become a medic because I said I would never pick up a gun. I value ahimsa, nonviolence. I will not pick up a gun. So he stands there, and it's nighttime. And as you can imagine, there's a little rustling, sound in the grass. Every time the wind blew, Higgy would get a little nervous, and it blew more and more and more and more. And Higgy leaned out of the hut and grabbed a weapon. He grabbed a weapon from right in front of him. There was silence. And then the sounds grew and they grew, and it sounded like there was someone coming right next to him. Was it a tiger? Was it a human? What was it that was coming next to him? And suddenly, from the bushes jumped up his sergeant. Aha! I gotcha, Higgies. Let me see what's in your hand. And Higgy lifts up his hands, and he has a long piece of grass, and he swishes it at his sergeant and says, shh, shh, this is what my weapon is. Now, Higgy was afraid, and he knew if he picked up that rifle, that was it. Everything he had valued for all of his life was gone. As soon as he picked it up, it was gone. As soon as he violated that, I won't do this, it was gone. But he was set up. Was his life worth his values? Yeah, he thought it was. And so he picked up a long switch of grass to use as his weapon and left the loaded gun on the floor. But lo and behold, at the same time that the sergeant came with that light shining it on Higgy, to the north, the south, the east, and the west of the hut came his friends. Hey, Sarge, how's it going? What you doing out here so late? What are you men doing out here? We were taught by you to protect our friends, Sarge. We know Higgy isn't going to pick up a gun. We didn't want to leave him out here alone. So we all came during our sleep time to stand guard with him. Now the Sarge, he backed off. What could he say? He told them, you have to stand guard. You have to protect each other. And they had given up their sleep to come and stand guard with their friend, who did not know they were there, who did not know that they cared enough for him to support him as he lived and embodied the values he had. And so they talked to him. A little while later, the fellows, they talked to him about this yoga stuff. And he had a good friend who was there who talked to him, and he'd say, Higgy, I don't know. I just don't believe you. I saw that you didn't pick up the gun. I get that. I think a lot of you that you stood by your values, but you keep talking about this yoga stuff. If this stuff works so well, Higgy, how come you're still here? How come you're stuck out in the battlefield with the rest of us? Well, Higgins kind of stepped back, and that was a challenge. Tell you what, I'll be out of here in 3 days. Really? You're going to be out of here in 3 days? Yeah, I'll be out of here in 3 days. Okay. So 1 day passes, 2 day passes, 3rd day comes. Higgy has packed up his bags and he's ready to go. No sign that anything's happening here. And his friend, hey, Melvin, what's going on, Higgy? Here we are, 3rd day, nothing happening. Don't see you're still here. So you got your bags packed. You're pretty hopeful, aren't you? Just give it a minute. Go have breakfast. The next thing they know, breakfast, sergeant comes. Jones, Smith, Higgins, get your stuff and be on the tarmac in 30 minutes. You're shipping out. He goes over to his friend, puts an arm around him and said, see, that yoga stuff does work. And his friend is baffled, totally baffled. Higgins raises his hand and says, Sarge, by the way, when did you decide who was leaving? This morning. With that, Higgins smiled, got his bag, got on the plane, and waved goodbye to his friend. Now, if you ask him about the story, he will tell you that maybe it's not so good to use your yoga city to enhance your ego, right? Because he ended up on a small island where there were many Japanese prisoners, and the food was dropped down with the labels all gone, and you didn't know what you were eating. And because he was a strict vegetarian, he fasted a lot. And years later, he said, I'm not so sure. I learned a lesson to stand up for my values in the hut, but I also learned, don't let my ego get the best of me. When my friend dared me to show him the beauty of yoga. The 3 days. 3 days meditating, 3 days meditating and fasting. And he got out of the situation he was in. But here was the key. In retrospect, he said, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that was the right thing to do. Not only because it shifted the karma to some place that was quite more difficult, but because sometimes we have to be very careful about what we move. And so let the story of Melvin the boy Higgy or Higgins, if you will, inspire you? What in your life do you hold as so precious that you are willing to stand up for it? For him, he swore he would not pick up a gun. Yeah. He did not want to bring that kind of violence into the earth in this lifetime. Now, how hard is that? How hard is that? For some of you, it's not hard. But for others of you, you know well and good, it is very hard to resist the pressure, the social pressure, the psychological pressure, the cultural pressure of others to behave in a certain way. Whether it's a gun, whether it's eating pork, whether it's recycling your food or not recycling your food, whether it's being opinionated or criticizing others. These things that we experience in our life, we have to be willing to know, to see what we value. I don't know what you value. I know you value some peace because you're here, but I don't know what the most important thing is for you. So think for a moment. If there was one thing that you could take with you, one thing at the end of his life, what would it be? Now don't forget that. Because what are you doing with every breath that you take? What are you doing to make sure that you take that with you that you value so much? What are you doing to feed it, to strengthen it, to vivify it so that you will take it with you? And, you say, well, take it with me when I transition from the earth. That's fine. I mean, yes, we should pay attention to that. Yes, some of us are closer than others, right? We can see that we're closer to the end than we were a while ago, right? But what are you doing to take it with you today? This moment, this hour, this week, this breath, the next breath, the next breath, the next breath, the next breath. So that which you say you value, you are nourishing and vivifying and feeding with every breath you take. Now you may say, well, I can't do that. Well, yogically you can do that. But first you must know that which you value. Not 7 values, not 5 values, not 3 values, not 2 values. One thing that is more important to you, that will encompass, is the greatest value that you have. Once upon a time, another time, in Melvin's life, in Higgy's life, upon the earth, he met a man who was very, very wealthy. And then, again, in the way of the earth, the wealth went away. And Higgy looked around him and he saw all of these people that were distraught that their wealth was gone. They were very upset about the wealth being gone. You understand that? People were committing suicide. They were leaving the earth because their wealth was gone. But he saw one man, one fellow, who seemed pretty peaceful. I knew the fellow was very wealthy, or had been very wealthy, and knew he lost a lot of money. And he went up to him and he said, "Excuse me, excuse me, Mr. Lee. May I ask you a question?" "Of course, young man, you may." "I see everybody around you upset, people jumping on windows, crying, weeping, wailing because they've lost their money. I know that you have had a lot of money, and I assume that you have lost some like everybody else." "Yeah, you're right, I have." "Why no crying? Why no weeping? Why are you different than they are?" "Ah, I have my memory. I have my memory, young man. I made it once. I can do it again. Done it twice. I can do it again. I have my memory." What do you value the most in your life? What do you value? Now, here's the rub. You need to look at your life and say, okay, well, I say that I value, let's just say you value learning, for example. You value language. You want to learn Sanskrit. How much time are you spending doing it? Oh, you wake up in the morning, you meditate, you study any Sanskrit, get ready for work, get on the train or do whatever you do to get to work, walk to work, sit and work, have your lunch break. Think of any Sanskrit in between there? No. Get enmeshed in work. The day goes by, you get tired. Get on the train to go home. All your mind wants to do is rest. Any Sanskrit? Maybe an om, maybe an om, maybe an ah or an aha. Ah, ah, ee, ooh, ooh, maybe. Get home, fix dinner, clean up the dishes. Maybe you do a little journaling. Maybe you have an evening meditation. You got to get up at 4:30 the next morning. Where's the Sanskrit? Where's the energy? Where's the time? Oh, I'll do it on the weekend. I'll do it on the weekend. I'll do it on Sunday. I'll do it on Saturday. And so we have to look at our lives and say, in between all these other things that I have to do, I have to sort through and say, what must I really be doing? What do you really have to do? Of all these things that you're doing, what is the priorities? What are the priorities? What are the necessities? What are the necessities? Is there anything you can change? A number of decades ago, I led a business group. A lot of different responsibilities, different parts of the world. But one of them included preparing responses to requests that clients would send in for proposed services. The group I led did that. They were very organized, very good at what they did, very, very skilled people. But one of the clients was a business line within this company I worked for. Now, all the clients knew that there was a method. All the business owners knew there was a method. The bid came in, the timing was set, these were the actions that had to be done. by such and such and such a time. It was very, very organized, very methodical. But there was one woman, one soul. Who continually disrupted everything. Month after month after month. Friday would come, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Everything would be wrapped up and ready to go. And she'd say, oh, no, we can't do it. We must work tomorrow. We must work Sunday. We can send it on Monday. She was disruptive. Who's that in your life? What is the thing that causes disruption in your life? What is the person? What is the activity that says, oh, no, I don't have time to study Sanskrit. I don't have time to meditate. My body is too tired. Or I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do the other thing. Whatever the things are. Somebody told me the other day, Netflix binge is what they had to do, or reading binge is what they had to do. None of these things are wrong. They're not bad. There's nothing inherently wrong in anything that you're doing. It's really for you to decide, well, with this time that I have, what is going to be most fruitful for me to direct my life energy? Where do I want to direct it and why? And your life energy should be directed in fruitful ways at those things that you value. Now, I know some of you are taking care of family members who are ill, family members who are having difficulties, friends. You need to say, is there a wiser way? Is there a smarter way? Is there a more efficient way that I can do this? Some of you have children that you're having to take care of. And again, is there a wiser way to do this? Is there a more efficient way that I can do this? Is there an easier way so that I have more room, more space, more energy to devote to whatever that thing is that you say you value? Like Higgy, who was challenged with the gun laying on the floor in the hut, who was challenged and who was afraid and who looked down at that gun and thought, do I pick it up? Do I pick it up? Do I pick it up? No. If I pick it up, my whole life has changed. My whole life has changed. For he knew the secret that we all need to know. There are some points in our lives, they're turning points, they're time gates. A moment will arise when your values are challenged. Do you uphold that which you value? Or do you let it go? And do the opposite of that which you value. Now, in all of this, I mentioned a few moments ago the pressure that one feels, the psychological pressure, the social pressure, the cultural pressure to do what others want you to do. Why? So you are accepted by them, so you are approved of them, by them. There is a young man named Stefano. Beautiful, beautiful soul. Close friend, the son of a close friend of one of the Swamis. Stefano had children, has a child. And Stefano was living in Italy. Safe. Family. Secure. And another war arose upon the earth. And Stefano decided he was going to travel from Italy to his home country. His home country of Ukraine. Yeah, he didn't have to go. He wasn't drafted. He wasn't called up. Beloved Stefano, I tell you the story to give him merit so that we all learn from this. He left. He left his baby. He left his spouse. He left his family. He left the peace. And he went to fight in this one other war upon the earth. But why? Why did he go? He wasn't drafted. Why did he go? Well, he said before he left, I have to go. I can't live with myself. I would never be able to face my neighbors and my friends if I did not go to fight with them in this war. He went because he could not stand the social pressure of not going. He felt that for his values, he had to go. Bless him 100 times over. And he left this incarnation during another one of the wars upon the earth. C'est la vie. It's the karma. Don't let that happen to you. The pressure, the social pressure, the cultural pressure, the psychological pressure to be accepted and approved of by others too often controls our behavior and moves that which we value to the side. Did he value his life? Of course he valued his life. Did he love his family? Of course he loved his family. But what was stronger? What was stronger? He was 38 years old, had a well-established life, 38 years old. But what was stronger? It was the need of approval of friends and neighbors. And I suppose family, although I don't recall that he said that. And so I tell you this story and the story of Higgy, of Melvin. Think in your own life how many times you have put your own values aside. Your own values aside. Because somebody else was pushing you, was making fun of you, or you were afraid they were going to push you, you were afraid they were going to make fun of you. And you gave in. But you don't have to. You do not have to again. And so the answer is, okay, well, this is what I value, and I'm going to live my life according to what I value. Now, we know there are circumstances that arise in our lives that are disruptive, or we have to go and do things or partake in things, or we are part of something that does not align with our highest values. But always we must work, always we must try, always we must see, what can I do to feed and vivify that which I value? And your value should be something that will last eternally, not something that's cultural, not something that's social. You know, it's not having a pair of blue shoes. It is something that you will be able to, that will last you through the rest of your incarnation and incarnations beyond. And so how do you see? Yeah, it's very easy. And we'll do this in a moment. You look at your life and you look at that value and you ask yourself, what would it look like if I held this for 7 lifetimes? What would it look like? Would I still value it if I held it for 7 lifetimes? The moments that we break, our vows to ourselves, that we succumb to the pressure, they occur when the body is tired. They occur when the body is weak, when the body is discouraged, when it's worn out, when it's depressed. And so it is necessary to use the practices when you're strong, so that they are a habit when these times occur. So that even when the time is muddy and murky and mucky, you can still turn inward for a few nanoseconds and chant. You can still turn inward for a few nanoseconds and turn to your Ishtatevata to help, to lift you. You can still turn for a few seconds to forgiveness, to the beautiful forgiveness ritual. And so, let me close by giving you that ritual and then a meditation. The new moon comes tomorrow. Tonight and tomorrow are sacred times to begin to do the forgiveness ritual. If it's your first time, you do the ritual at midnight in a dark room. If it's not your first time, you can do it at other times of the day. Preferably by yourself in a dark room at night. And it's very simple. You look at the person that you need to forgive, you close your eyes, face east. If you're during the day, face north. If you're at night, see the person in your mind's eye, one at a time. And simply say, I forgive you. I forgive you for everything you've done in your thoughts, in your words, in your deeds, to hurt me, to offend me. May the hurt be healed. May the karma be dissolved. See them in your mind's eye and turn counterclockwise. From north to west, from west to south, from south to east, from east to north, repeating the same words. Hold them in your mind's eye each time. And then, please forgive me. Please forgive me for everything I've done in thought, in word, in deed that has hurt you or offended you. May the hurt be healed. May the karma be dissolved. And again, counterclockwise, all 4 directions. And then you stand still, sit still, and wait. to see if it needs to be done again. To see if it needs to be done again and again and again. And do the ritual until you are finished with this round of it. And the next day, reflect and have Tarka. And you will see, do I need to go back? Is it finished? Is it over? Is it dissolved away? Or does more work need to be done? And this very sacred ritual that has been simplified for you will live with you for the rest of your incarnation if you practice it and you allow it. And you will see how important it is to do it. How often the thoughts that turn towards others are not kind, perhaps, are not as accepting, perhaps, as you would wish them to be. Perhaps your actions aren't what you would wish them to be. Perform the ritual. And if you say, oh, that son of a gun wronged me, I shouldn't ask for forgiveness of them. Ah, yes. Didn't you just judge them by saying that son of a gun wronged me? Ask for their forgiveness and then forgive them. Let us now move into a meditation. But remember these words. Remember what was said. Is your life being lived? Are you living your life supporting and nurturing and vivifying that which you value the most? And if you are swayed, like Stefano, may the powers that be bless him and bless his transition and bless his new life. If you are being swayed by the thought of what your neighbors and friends will do, by the thought of what your family will do, by the thought of what your coworkers will do, by your thought of what the others will think of you, forgive yourself, forgive them. Dissolve that karmic thought. Dissolve it, dissolve it, dissolve it. You see, Stefano is a great learning for us. Remember him, remember his good deeds, and any merit that you get from remembering Stefano. Hold it, offer it back to him for what he has shown us. It was not the actions of the others. It was not even the thoughts that he knew they were thinking. It was the thoughts that he thought they were going to think. That's a powerful learning. Powerful, powerful, powerful learning. May we all be blessed, and may he be blessed. And may my beloved Guru, Swami Pranananda, Melvin, as he was known at one time, or Higgy, as he was known at one time, or Higgins, as he was known at one time, Guruji, as he is known in my heart, Swami Pranananda, may he be blessed in this very moment as we move into our meditation. For all of these teachings have come through him. All the rituals have come through him. All the blessings have come through him. Turning your head to the left, exhale twice. Bring the head back to the center and focus at the sun center and watching your breath. Pulling the energy from the limbs to the trunk with a sipping breath. from the trunk to the spinal column. From the base of the spine to the sun center. And move the energy as a golden ball of light counterclockwise. Wrap it 3 times around your body. And now, calling upon the divine ones, ascend to the highest place. As high as you are able. You reach the highest place. And there your Ishtadevata has joined you. Your form of the divine has joined you. Your most intimate, beloved divine has joined you. Now ascend further. Ascend to the highest mountaintop. And as you are at the mountain, you and your Ishta, you see mountains in an unending distance. Looking into eternity. Take the value, the single value that you have, the most important value in your life, and hold it at your sun center. Now projecting forth this lifetime. See that value projecting into the future. If you feed it and nurture it, the next lifetime. Moving forward 3 lifetimes. See it moving on the mountain ranges far and far, far in front of you. Four lifetimes. Five lifetimes. Six lifetimes. Seven lifetimes. As you gaze upon the distant future and the ever-present now, is one thing that is most important to you. See how it grows if you feed it, if you nourish it, if you sustain it. Dhyana mulam guru mutir, puja mulam guru padam, mantra mulam guru vakyam, moksha mulam guru kripa, moksha mulam guru kripa, moksha mulam guru kripa. Inhaling through your nostril, exhaling through the nostrils. 2 more times. See, that which you value has a very distant bindu, little dot, far, far over the mountain tops. Using the sipping breath, see the bindu coming back towards you and becoming larger. Again, the symbol of that which you value the most is coming towards you, brighter and larger. Inhaling a 3rd time with the sipping breath, the symbol of that which you value the most comes forth towards you. And comes to your sun center. And draw the symbol in with 3 short breaths, inhaling. And feel it coming down your spinal column as you exhale through the nostrils. Inhaling and exhaling 3 times through the nostrils. Allowing the symbol to dissolve down your spinal column as golden light, radiating into every cell of your being, radiating to the limbs of your being. And let us join together and send forth a light. Send forth our blessings, your blessing, to all of those in need. Om Shanti, Shanti. Shanti. Om Shanti. 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 Om Shanti. 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 May your light radiate forth each time that you turn inward. May your light radiate forth as a blessing unto life each time you chant the Om mantra or the Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti mantra. May your yoga city, the concentrated energy of your mind, the single focus of your mind, focused on the value that will carry you forth from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. May it grow, may it sustain you, may it vivify you. May your practice be ever more fruitful. May your days be filled with ever greater joy with each breath that you take. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Namaste. Namaskar. Thank you for the blessings of your presence. Thank you for sharing your spiritual energy, your time, as we are here together. Namaste.